So, hey everybody, welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee. We decided to come outside today because it is gorgeous. So I'm going to say a quick prayer and then hop right in. So, Father God, I thank you for all the things that you've done, all the things you will do, and all the things that are works. I thank you again for another day. And I pray the words that come out of my mouth that are not my own, but yours. In your name I pray. Amen. So, all this week, God has been teaching me about being a servant and just what that looks like. And one example is my dad and I do construction, and we're in the pools, and some patches are harder than others, and it's just a difficult job all around. And he's been having me take the harder positions, doing all this stuff. Well, I didn't really know until after all of this, but my dad's been having a lot of problems with his muscles, and they've been giving out on him, and he just really needed somebody to help pick up the slack. So he's been having me pick up the slack, and I had no idea that was going on. And God's been teaching me a lot about servanthood just through work, and it's been some pretty serious stuff. Like, I've been getting cut up, I've been getting bruised, I've been getting exhausted. Like, when I get home, I take a shower and then lay on my bed and just pass out. And he said, Nick, this is what it means to live for me. This is what it means to serve, to lay your body down so that somebody else can stand up. And so I had this little thing right here, and I'm just going to hop into it right quick. If you were in town April 24th, you would have seen that on Highway 77 there was this big white truck stuck on the highway, and that was me and my dad. And that day it was pouring rain, and it was freezing, and it was awful, and we were completely out of gas, at a stoplight, and we were there, and cars are whizzing by and like cussing us out and like doing all the things, and we just had to sit there for a little bit. And my dad and I were talking about like how to get out of the way and all that stuff, and then my little brother Jeremiah was in the back. He said, what if we just push it? And my dad said, we can't do that because the trailer load alone is 1,500 plus pounds, because we've got all of our work equipment in the back and all that stuff, and the truck is huge, so we couldn't push it out of the way. Nobody was stopping to offer any help to push it or anything like that. So what had happened was we had a bike in the back of the truck, and my dad asked if I would bike home, get my car, get gas, and come get them off the side of the highway. And God said, do it. And I said, but God, it's cold, and it's rainy, and somebody could hydroplane and smack me on the side of the road with their car. And he said, it's fine, you'll be okay, just do it. And as I was biking to my dad's house, I was like praying really, really hardcore the entire time, and I was talking to God while doing this, and I said, on my way to my dad's house, God began to talk to me. He said, you have asked for a miracle, and I have answered. You have legs, pedal harder. I gave you grit, put it to work. I'm training you to be a man, so serve. And he kept telling me this over and over and over again. And yeah. So sometimes a miracle is just as simple as a person working really, really hard just to help somebody out. Whenever you work really, really hard for somebody, that could be the miracle that they were asking for. And then this morning, I woke up and God told me a name, and that was Rebecca. And then I was reminded of the story of Isaac and Rebekah. So more specifically, what had happened for Rebekah. So one of Abram's servants went to some place to look for a wife for Isaac. And the servant went to this certain place, and he was praying to the Lord and said, "Let the person who you have chosen to be Isaac's wife give me water to drink, but also water my camels, or water these camels." And Rebekah comes up before the prayer is even finished, and the servant asks, "Can I have some water?" And she says yes, and takes the jar off of her shoulder, and then gives him some water. And she said, "Let me also water your camels." And she pours the rest of the water into the trough, and she is going back and forth getting water for these camels. And I don't know if you know a lot about camels, but they can drink gallons upon gallons upon gallons of water. And that's just even if they're barely thirsty. And the blessing that came to Rebekah was through this work. She probably didn't know that this blessing was going to be what it was when she was getting water for the camels. And by no means did her job get any easier. If anything, it got harder. These jars they were no joke. They were huge and filled with water. I'm guessing around maybe 5 to 6 gallons. And if you've ever handled water, it's sloshy, it's heavy, shouldn't be heavy, but it is. And as she's going back and forth, the load's not getting any easier. Her muscles are giving out on her. Her shoulders are in pain, her head's in pain, everything's in pain. But she's doing it to help this person, to be obedient to God, to help this person. And at the end of it all, after the camels were watered and all that stuff, the servant goes in to describe what his master had told him and all this stuff. And he ends up going to Rebekah's home to meet Rebekah's family. And he tells Rebekah and the family about what Abraham had told him. And it's a really, really great story. You can find it in Genesis, and I recommend going to read it. But being a servant looks like muscle aches, looks like being cut up and bruised and exhausted at the end of the day. But God sees you when you work, even if it's behind closed doors, and He will honor it. For Rebekah, it was a husband. For me, it was just a smile on my dad's face. And for you, it could be prayers answered for somebody. It could be fill in the blank. For those of you who have hands, let them work. For those of you who have legs, let them move. People constantly ask for miracles, and one of them is you're alive. So work. Yeah, that's what God told me this week, is to work. And to work well, and to work hard.
So to go along with the word that Nick gave today about servanthood, God brought me to Matthew 20. We're going to be reading from verse 20 to 28. It says, "Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down, asked a favor of him. 'What is it that you want?' he asked. She said, 'Grant that one of these 2 sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in the kingdom.' 'You don't know what you're asking,' Jesus said to them. 'Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?' 'We can,' they answered. Jesus said to them, 'You will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father.' When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant with the 2 brothers. Jesus called them together and said, You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So, from this we can easily see, obviously, that servanthood is a sacrifice of yourself. And Jesus was the perfect example for that, and perfect example for how we are supposed to live our lives here on earth. So it is a sacrifice of yourself. So don't lose heart when serving gets hard, or when it seems like it's requiring maybe a little bit too much of you. Instead, that's when we should rejoice and press on harder, because it's those moments when God is really looking down and seeing where we will sacrifice our own lives for his kingdom, and he gives honor to those places.
I was a flame burning out, drawing circles with my heart. Didn't know where to run when the light was turning dark. Found you there by my side, reaching for me when I lost control.
Hi guys, I'm Savannah, and I was doing the artwork for this past Sunday morning Coffee with Nick, and I did the tree because he was talking about working and reaping harvest, and so God showed me this picture of a tree and how trees take years and years and years to grow, and so someone has to be really patient to see the full result that they're wanting from the tree. And so God was telling me, like, just be patient, and the beauty is all going to come at the end. It's a beautiful process watching it, but the bigger picture is at the end.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching that video. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button to let us know that you're here. Go ahead and leave a like and comment, and if you see that bell icon down below by the subscribe button, go ahead and hit that so that you can be notified of our uploads. Thank y'all.